welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first Emo Coin podcast of 2022. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. This is Jamison Talley, the infamous. I call him Jamo. Jamo, how was your holiday?
It was awesome. It was really good. I got to spend some time in LA with family. Real nice time.
Nice. That's beautiful. Where are you now?
I'm in Spokane, Washington.
That's where I'm
And
from.
yeah.
Born and raised. How's the weather over there in Spokane, Washington?
It's real foggy right now. It's just above freezing. It's been on and off snowing for a while.
Oh, really? Do you have snow on the
Yeah.
ground right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Wow, that's exciting. How
hmm
much?
I don't know, like 3 or 4 inches maybe.
Is that just normal for you? You're just chilling with 3 or 4 inches?
Yeah. No, we had a big snow last week, and then it's been kind of melting off last couple of days.
All right, fair. Because we just got 5 inches, and that was like an experience here in balmy Maryland, you know?
Yeah.
And we have snow. And when I was a kid growing up here, we'd have like 2 feet of snow or whatever. But these days, not so much, you know? But yeah, we had 5 inches. I was out there with the snow blower. Pretty rocking. Pretty
I
fun.
mean, it's helpful. It's better than shoveling it by hand.
That's what they say. So
Yeah.
I do a little hybrid. You know, I did a little snow blower, a little shovel, you know, but it's good. Kids were out sledding and stuff. Very nice. So, Jamison here is going to be helping out with Emo Coin, and I wanted to introduce the community to him. Jamo has helped me out for a long time in the studio and is really enthusiastic about the future of the music business and a lot of the things that we talk about on this podcast and in the Emo Coin Discord in general. So we thought it'd be great if he joined up to stoke conversation in the Discord, to answer questions that people might have, and really just be an ambassador for the token and for what we're trying to do. So I wanted to introduce him to everybody and then just get a little background on you, like what got you started in music,
Yeah.
and what are you passionate about right now, and sort of how goes your world.
Yeah, for sure. Um, as far as like what's going on right now, like what gets me out of bed in the morning is mostly just um passion for music, and the stuff that I'm really interested right now is like a lot of production stuff, and I think there's a lot of like really interesting things that that like are happening in the music scene. Um, like you see people breaking down genre barriers that is super exciting to me. And I know you see that a lot, Matt.
Absolutely. And do you feel like that's because your generation has access to music in a different way than my generation did? Like we'd go to a record store and spend like $10 to $15 on a CD. I'd have to like save up my allowance. So like for me, genre bending was like not an option when I was a kid. It was like, okay, I really only have this one album I can buy this month.
hmm
That's a very different
Yeah.
world from you guys. Do you feel like it's because you have access to all this stuff that people are hybridizing more?
Oh yeah, totally. You see like people's Spotify playlist is like crazy to see because on the same playlist you'll have like Dolly Parton and then like Tupac. And like you wouldn't like you don't see those two next to each other in a record store, but you can do that. Like you can just put all of your different types of music that you really like together, and you have so much more access, so much more like you can just hear more stuff. Like if you didn't have like you had a hardcore scene in when you were growing up where you lived, and there's like not a super big hardcore scene in Spokane. So if I was growing up the same time you did, I would not have been exposed to the same music as you were. But like I can listen to those bands that you listened to growing up just like, online. This stuff's out there. So
You have
uh,
access right away. And so
yeah,
that to me is like the big, the big change over the last however many years. And to your point, it's changed the way people make music too. Because
Yeah.
so do you feel like successful artists are grabbing from different, just like totally different music beds and stuff?
I would say like the best artists do. There's a great quote. I don't know who it's from, but it's like wisdom that's drawn from one place becomes stale and rigid.
Hmm.
Uh, and I really like that a lot because if you just get your ideas and your inspirations from like country, for example, then all your stuff's going to sound like whatever country sounds like, and you're going to be kind of like pigeonholed there. But you can like do some crazy stuff. Like you can do whatever you want when you're making music, and getting inspiration and like techniques from other genres is really, I think it really improves the quality of music in general.
Mm. I think that's really wise, and it's super interesting to me because I'm like, you know, I have my old tricks and then I'm like in touch with sort of the new tricks. But like, you know, this whole new generation that is really growing up without those guardrails that I had. I find it fascinating because you could really focus on the connection points between different genres, and it at a certain point just becomes, this is good music and this is not so good music. Still subjective, but it's less
Hmm.
like, oh my god, I'm a hardcore kid, or oh my god, I'm a hip hop kid, or whatever. And I just think that's cool. Like when I listen to a band like Turnstile, which like by modern definition is a hardcore band, like they're drawing from all sorts of different things. And the only hardcore band that did that in the past was Refused, and they were so praised for it. And so it's nice to see that's what stuck. Shape of Punk to Come really became it. So I love that. And so
Hmm.
in terms of music you're making, Logic is your main drug of choice, right?
Yes, yes. Logic is what I spend most of my time on. I started in GarageBand. It was just installed on my computer when I got it like 10 years ago, and then I just learned it for because it was there. And then I moved on to Logic as I got more serious about it, and then like I've done some work in other platforms, but mostly it's Logic.
Got it. And like, are you? I know there's a big update. Did you get that yet, or is that
There is a chance that I've gotten it, but
okay?
there's also a chance like it could have been like auto installed on my computer and I just didn't realize it.
Well, because you
Um,
have a new computer with an M1, right?
yeah, yeah.
So there's
S-
Logic is supposed to have an upgrade that corresponds to the new chips.
It probably does. It's probably in there, and I probably just haven't like paid too much attention to it. I don't pay too much attention to Logic updates because I haven't really seen any things like in any of the updates that I've noticed that have been like groundbreaking changes. Usually it's just like quality of life and performance updates,
Yeah.
or I've just been like missing something.
There's what you want to look for now, if it is the updated version. The one significant upgrade that I've heard about is the spatial audio upgrade.
Mm,
That's one I want to check out, but I'm not sure if it works with my Intel stuff. So check it out. But you know how everything on Apple, they're advertising all this spatial audio mixing and stuff like that.
spatial audio is a really cool. It's a really cool deal. I don't know like what you would use it for like practically. Like I just don't know what the kind of purpose would be except for like maybe VR, AR stuff. But you can tell if you've got it like turned on your phone and you've got like AirPods in and you like turn your head, it sounds like you're like listening to a TV in a room.
Is it cool, or does it like ruin?
It no, it works really well, but it definitely for me it just like it took me out of it because like the first time I realized it was like I was on an airplane with like the noise cancellation on.
Wow,
So I'm like, wait, did my headphones unplug? Why does it sound like this is playing out of a speaker?
that's
And
gnarly.
it really sounds like you're in a room.
That's
But
gnarly.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, because I've experienced it a couple times and done that same like,
Hmm.
what's going on? Like, this is dope, but like, I don't know where things are coming from. But like,
Hmm.
it's not what I want from my musical experience. To your point, it is what I want from my VR experience because you want
Yeah.
that to be as realistic as possible. But my basic vibe is like, I'm not going to download the Dolby thing yet. Or like there's like a Dolby Atmos mixing. I don't know if it's a plugin or
Yeah.
if it's a screen or like what it is, but I'm not going to download it because on the M1 Max, it's built into Logic supposedly, and that's what I want to see is that you can just access it right from Logic. That I would be kind of keen to check out. And so
Yeah.
it may not be your chip. It may be there's like an M1 chip, and then there's like some M1 Ultra crazy something mega.
I very well could have spatial audio turned off on this computer because I don't I use mostly these headphones for most of my stuff on this, and then if I'm on the go, I'll use my AirPods. But I obviously you don't use. This is like the problem with the AirPods. Like they're amazing, but the latency is
Crazy.
it's pretty noticeable.
Dude, it's nuts.
Um,
So I got these. This was my gift to myself at the end of last year. These AirPod Max,
mhm.
and dude, they sound incredible.
Yeah,
But they are latent, and so like definitely when I'm in a DAW, I'm definitely like, wait a minute, what I'm hearing is like it's not consistent with the timeline. It's really weird.
yeah,
I mean, I use them because they sound awesome and it makes me have to go to my car less because the low end
yeah.
response is so good. But it's definitely issues in terms of latency. I don't know if that's Bluetooth or if it's the noise cancellation because the noise cancellation is very sophisticated. You know what they're doing on the noise cancellation is it's a very crazy operation if you research it, and
Yeah.
that could be causing a lot of latency too.
I think it's the Bluetooth because the noise cancellation has to work in real time or else it doesn't work. So the latency from when the sound comes into the microphones for the noise cancellation between playing the canceling sounds out has to be minuscule. So I can't imagine that that is what's causing the latency, especially because everything Bluetooth is just so slow.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's a really strange kind of. I feel like maybe it's an outdated. They need like an update or something like that.
Yeah.
Shifting gears. So, like for me, a lot of music business has been revolutionized in the last 2 years. Yes, because of COVID, but these things that were coming into focus were going to change anyway. It's just COVID just sped them up. For you as like an up and coming producer, just making those relationships with people and stuff like that, like how do you see how do you see the world for musicians? Like, are people going to be able to tour again? Do they need to learn how to use online stuff better? Like, what's your vibe on all this stuff?
Just from a Zoomer, very young person's perspective, it seems like the the online stuff, the digital age is kind of where it's at. Um, I think touring is a really cool thing, and I don't think that it's going to stop happening. I don't think it's going to stop being important. Um, but you see these people who get hundreds of millions of interactions on sites like TikTok and Instagram, and they're just you get in front of so many people. I remember this summer, Olivia Rodrigo had her whole album on Spotify's top 200 list.
Hmm.
She just released a whole album and it was on all of it. And that level of success for her was just being really big on TikTok and the other online platforms. So I think definitely the way in which you gain an audience is I think it has way less to do with how good you are on tour and more to do with how many followers you have on TikTok. As far as making music, it's kind of weird because you can do online writing sessions as you've done a lot, and as I've done some, but it's still like people are still really kind of not good at it yet.
They hate them too.
Yeah,
They
and there
hate
it's
it.
like scheduling for an online session is way harder than saying like, okay, like just show up to the studio now, show up to this spot, we'll record something. It's like the logistics of getting those things handled, and I think people are still like strangely averse to just hopping on a Zoom call and just going through with a writing
Okay,
session
but can you tell
at
me
this point.
why? Because I've experienced the same thing and I've built this amazing stuff for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my online sessions go better than most and people get off those sessions and they're like, "Wow, this went great." Or the writing camps that Entangled Audio is a part of, like we run these camps and everybody's like, "Wow, that was great." But like people just hate it. Is it because like it's not a hang? Like is it like people like going to in-person sessions because they like the activity? Like it's a fun thing to do. Like that's your activity for the day. I'm going to the studio. Whereas like an online session just feels like it just doesn't feel vibey. Is that the
I don't know because like for me as a production end kind of person, I like the online sessions for the fact of you can get in an online room with somebody and you can get stuff done. Like you can make progress on a song. I've like made some great progress on some songs that maybe have gone better than some of my in-person sessions um, when you're online. But I don't know. I don't know why people are so like hard to get nailed down on. I think a lot of it might be that it's easier to schedule like an in-person meeting or an in-person session and like in-person events in general than it is to do like online stuff. So if you say like we're meeting at this point in this place, maybe there's like some psychological reason why people are just more motivated to show up to a place and do a thing than like booting up their computer. Even if it is like more convenient, there might be like some underlying reason why people are just averse to it.
It's really weird. It's something that I
Yeah.
really want to fix.
Hmm.
It's something that
Yeah.
I feel like people have had enough bad online sessions that it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. But like the reality of the world, I mean, is people are going to need to learn how to get more comfortable with this, whether it's
Hmm.
a pandemic or not. Like it's just too amazing that like
Yeah.
we can get our work done in these other ways, and that's also going to drive people to not want to spend money on studios and all sorts of stuff. This change is here to stay. So, I just find it fascinating. People just have this like, I almost feel like because the bad online sessions are like so uncomfortable for people. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it's like like when you're on a plane and you get that first turbulence bump and
Hmm.
it's just so uncomfortable that you're like, I don't want
Yeah.
that to happen again. I kind of feel like that's what happens to people with the Zoom sessions, right? Because you get on Zoom and then it sort of makes you feel a little queasy, and like the music part is terrible because the sound's always dropping out. Like, you know what I mean? Like people,
Yeah.
the bad experiences are so bad that like people just haven't wanted to troubleshoot through them and come up with good experiences. It bothers me, but I want to see people get what you're getting out of it, which is like,
Hmm.
hey, sometimes my online sessions are great, sometimes they're bad. Sometimes my in-person sessions are great, sometimes they're bad. Like that's how I am too. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Tuesday's a pretty good songwriting day. I like Tuesdays. Who knows? We don't even know where songs come from. We have no
Hmm.
clue. So it's like, might as well just write it wherever you're feeling, or wherever you are. So it's
Yeah.
a weird thing, but it's something that I think needs to be challenged going forward. And then
Hmm.
what's your vibe for like in my opinion, a band tours to connect with their fans and to sell merchandise and to have like a really almost like church like experience. It's an amazing thing. A concert's an amazing thing. And I'm not pretending that online can replace the whole thing, but I do think people need to learn how to utilize it better, because I have a lot of friends who are just canceling dates and then they're miserable. I mean, they're miserable, and I feel terrible because it's like we're producers. Like, we're complaining about, like, oh yeah, the online sessions maybe like 10% worse than the in-person sessions, but sometimes they're 10% better. Like, that's our margin of change here. It's not that drastic. If you're a band that can't tour, like, do you have friends that are going through this where it's like, they're like, I have friends that are like, I might need to like not do this band anymore. I've had bands break up that I'm friends with during the last 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. From my perspective, I don't. A lot of people in music that I know are not like they don't rely super heavily on touring. Like they'll do like local shows, but like going out and on tour is not as big of a thing for them, as they focus a lot more on like online stuff. But for me, like personally, as like viewing and consuming music, I haven't been to a like a concert for a band that I'm like super like hyped about, like really ever.
Wow.
Because I'm from a relatively small town and there's where like not a lot of shows come through. So like the biggest show we have in like this time frame is the Unlikely Candidates, if you've ever heard of them. They're kind of like an alternative.
Great band.
They're coming through Spokane like tonight or tomorrow night.
Oh, awesome.
But like that is one of the first bands that like I have some of their songs on my playlist, like on my Spotify, that have come through Spokane in a long time.
Wow.
So like that like kind of tour scene isn't, and like that kind of show scene like hasn't really been a big part of like my musical experience. So I am less inclined to say that it's like an essential part of like the music experience. But again, like I'm sure for a lot of people that's a big part of why they do it.
It's really fascinating though, because to me that connects to what I'm saying about these changes that we're all experiencing, whether they're people experimenting with NFTs or experimenting with online virtual events or online recording or whatever. Like, these changes these are all inevitable changes. This was all on its way in. Like, you didn't have access to shows anyway, even pre-pandemic. It's worse now, but it was never a requirement for you because there was not so much access to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting thing because, you know, a lot of these new techniques, a lot of these new paradigms are being born out of necessity because of COVID. And I don't think it's true. I think they've been catalyzed and the timetables for their implementations have been sped up. But I think we were heading this direction anyway. To me, the good news is that there's many more revenue streams opening up. There's many more opportunities for people to monetize their content. I think the tough news is that if you've been really successful in the old model, right? Successful touring act, successful with sales and stuff like that. That model, your original business model for being a successful sort of middle class music artist, that's gone. You know, if you're an elite, if you're Billie Eilish or Justin Bieber or whatever, like, you can do a live stream, you can do a merch drop, you can do some touring, like you can do whatever you want. You tour with the drive-throughs, or like, you know, they're going to be fine. That top, you know, upper echelon, they're always going to find ways to be creative and to connect with their fans. It's amazing, and I'm glad that they're still able to operate like that. But there's this whole world of artists that don't have the same like abilities to connect and are going to need to think about people like you. Like, think about like, well, our fans in Spokane have never seen us either. What's the difference? We can't make it to New York because COVID. Like, we can do for the New York fans like we did for everybody else, and there's some way to connect. And I think bands really need to focus on that. Shifting gears again because we're almost out of time.
Hmm.
So, like I said, Jamo is going to be helping out here with Emo Coin and with really just like opening up the conversation a little bit more. And we'll all try and be in the Discord more. The Discord link is on your screen here. But if people want to find you, like where are you on Insta and TikTok and like what are your socials and stuff?
Instagram, Jamison Talley Music, and as far as I'm not really on TikTok, I'm trying to change that, but yeah. And then
Me
that's
too.
pretty much where I'm most active.
My daughters are teaching me. And then on in the Discord, you are what's your username?
Jamison, just Jamison in the Discord.
Awesome. So if people want to find you, you can connect with JMO that way. And the we have some really fun stuff coming up this
Yeah,
year. Orphan the Poet. That is very, very exciting. We've done
it's
some
gonna be
great work
awesome.
with them. Great work with 44 Phantom. Couple other things that are coming out that are just. I think it's going to be a really, really fun year. I'm feeling super blessed. Uh,
Same.
just because stylistically, I really connect with a lot of the things that are coming into focus. I'm really a music fan at the end of the day. And so I'm just like, when I hear artists that are way outside of the emo world grabbing stuff that kind of sounds like our world, I get super pumped. Like I get pumped when I hear Enrique Iglesias Unwell. It just sounds like it sounds like the track could have been like any of our friends, a lot more
Yeah.
polished, but it's like it's that style. And then Enrique's doing pop over it. It's cool. I get excited about stuff like that. I would assume that that is not a popular opinion, and that I would take some criticism for embracing that, right? But I think
Hmm.
it's cool that people are nodding towards our world and grabbing pieces, from what we do. At the same time, I'm excited for a lot of our friends may be able to poke through and have hits just like All Time Low, was able to connect this past year finally.
Exactly.
And they've always been big band, but this was a different level of connection for them. So it's been a really exciting time, and I'm stoked to see where it all leads. And Emo Coin's gonna have a big year. Really excited about a lot of the stuff that we have coming up, and we'll keep everybody posted. But check in at the Discord, check in on Insta, and get to know JMO. And
Absolutely.
you'll be seeing a lot more of both of us this year. So take care, have a good time, and stay safe out there. Uh, it's concerning to me. The whole thing that we're living through. I just feel like there's a lot of confusion, and a lot of people like don't know whether they're supposed to buy into what they're hearing, or you know whatever. It's just a weird time. I'm always telling my kids we're living through strange times, and they're always giving me crap about,
Yeah.
oh dad, are we living through strange times? You know what I mean? Like it's become like a funny joke in our house, but it's true. We're living through strange times.
Mhm.
Strange out there. Anyway, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you at the next Emo Coin podcast.